Hey, my friends, it's your friend Kevin. Welcome to all of you. I am excited that you're here. Let's get right to the message or the messages. This morning I was, as I do every Sunday, it takes a little bit longer to sort of get into the week ahead. I've got the navigations for the week ahead with the moon, the stars, the planets. That's coming up next. But I also choose a new divine master to work with. And for the last little while, we've been having an angelic activation card, both decks from Kyle Gray. And this morning, as I'm shuffling through to get to our message, I landed upon two cards that fell out. Actually, three cards fell out. And Melchizedek was staring up at me, and he happens to be one of my, I think, spirit guides. Then right behind it, stuck to it, was the blue beings. And then Paul the Venetian, which I've put back in the deck, was up behind that. So, of course, my human self said, okay, I'm doing a divine daily blast. I need one of these. So I used my pendulum to choose. And at first, I got a definite no on Paul the Venetian. That wasn't really right for this week. Then I landed on the blue beings. And it was the pendulum went in a counterclockwise or a clockwise circle, which was sort of, to me, a clockwise circle says a maybe. And then, of course, I went to Melchizedek and it was straight up and down yes. So I used these two together. And I have been sitting pondering, I don't know what your message is for this whole week and why the two of you have come together to bring a message, but that's okay, because many times I sit and I start with the Divine Daily Blast, which is a bit Divine Daily Dive, really. It's dive into spirituality without necessarily knowing, feeling, believing, or understanding what exactly is going to come out, what's exactly going to be the message. And that's fine. I think that's life right now in human form as we're living it. It is unfolding in new and perhaps unorthodox, unwavering ways that we can't possibly fathom. And I'll go further to say I'm not sure we're supposed to fathom any of it other than to be present, to be aware, and to be awake, which leads me to my next little point where I can explain all of this. Many of you I've shared in last week that I'm taking I don't know what you want to call it, an angel group, spirit group with John Mothershead. It is Coloring Your Spirit. It's a 6-month certification course, which I love it. And I love it because it's challenging. It's challenging me to ask questions. It's challenging me to sort through the right and the wrong, the good and the bad. So this morning I do my question, which is, and forgive me if I'm waffling on, the question I have in my little journal is, what energy can guide me today in creating balance, protection, and empowerment? And of course I shuffle as I ask the question out loud. And this card popped up just like this. It was awakening on the one side and doubt on the other side. And so I looked at it. I looked at the colors. I looked at it upright like this. And I could see a little, looks like a squirrel or right in the middle. It's like a little animal. And then up here is another little alien animal. And then all these incredible colors in it. If I look at it this way, I get something completely different. I get another little animal, but it's a little different. So this deck of cards is a challenge because it challenges my interpretation of what am I getting. It's also interesting because it sort of triggers the idea that we have we got this right? Have we got this wrong? What are we doing? How is this clear? All of these things. What I love about this learning process is it does challenge doubts. So we could say, well, we're going to go from doubt and we're moving into awakening, or we're awakening and we are actually putting a sledgehammer to any doubts that we have. There's no doubt in our mind. When it comes up halfway, this is the challenging part of these incredible round tarot cards. They have the thinking mind, the am I what, and it makes us go and take a little bit deeper dive. And I feel like learning, which is exactly why this fella's showing up, is exactly what we need to be aware of. We are learning. This is a classroom of adventure, a classroom of divine intervention. So let's get right to the Divine Daily Blast, and I'm hoping that wasn't too much of a wallawoo for you. Today is angel numerology number 4. What does number 4 mean? Number 4 is really all about having the faith and having the knowledge and being understanding that the angels are present with us. Your guardian angels, your archangels are encouraging us to stop fretting, worrying, getting anxious about anything that we were thinking about at the time that you landed on this number 4. And number 4 is a reminder that these extra energies are with us always. Pull out the star, pull out the magician of your tarot deck, call upon Archangel Samuel and Archangel Gabriel to give you extra help. And if that wasn't enough, as I shuffled the first deck of cards I shuffled today, as I'm asking for divine guidance, for angelic help, here comes Archangel Sandalphon. I am the deliverer of prayers. Your requests will be heard and answered in ways that will bring you the greatest joy and fulfillment. So we can declare, I want joy and I want fulfillment. I want joy and I want fulfillment. I am a magnet for answered prayers. I effortlessly attract blessings into my life. Effortlessly attracting blessings into your life is stating categorically, I want joy. And I want, what was the other thing? Fulfillment. Here are my isms, and I'm going to get to these two because it's... Good things are constantly flowing to me. Joy and fulfillment is constantly flowing to me, without a doubt. May the light that is created here and now be for the highest good of all. My purpose and my intention today is to let the light create the light right here on this video to bring the highest good for everyone. I am filled with the light and love of divine consciousness and I'm blessed. This is what you say yourself. This is what you send out. So, a little bit like Melchizedek. Melchizedek was, in my opinion, and it's been written, and I believe it, one of the first incarnations of a priest. Way back, it's been noted that he was mentioned in the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's parts of him mentioned in the Old Testament, and those who have studied at length theology will be very familiar with this wonderful early priest. He is said to have been the heart-spaced priest, the one who initiated the heart teachers such as Jesus. He's also mentioned in the Kabbalistic text, Zohar, and all kinds of different names have been given to this wonderful divine master. His energy is with us this week to encourage us to dig into higher learning, to make a commitment to our vision through studying. If we are choosing to go out there, which I'm imagining some of you are, as light workers, whether you are in the light work of art, whether you're in the light work of creation, whether you're in the light work of writing, whether you're in whatever you're doing that has to do with the light, has to do with love, has to do with transcending divine laws, divine, or anything from the divine. It does take a dedication to learning, so that our forefathers, our divine masters, our angels, whatever they were about when they were in their human forms, came from somewhere. They were channeling it, guiding it, pulling it in. Those texts, that information is readily available. And one of the greatest history books we could possibly put our hands on, read from, and understand is the Holy Bible or the Kabbalah or any of those books of divination that were created really as textbooks, really as ways to say this is the learning, or this is the teaching, or this is the understanding according to whomever wrote it for a reason. And remember, these authors of books in the Bible, you've got the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, the disciples, all of them. And I am reciting the Bible, and I'm talking and making reference to the Bible. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest, hand on heart, I haven't read the whole thing. I'm not ashamed of saying that. I just haven't. However, what I will say, something was stirring in me all week with the passing of the Holy Father, Pope Francis. And I've got goosebumps now. So, my guides, my angels, my spirits are with me saying, well, yes, we were meant for things to get stirred up. More so, what that man represented, what he brought to probably one of the largest organized religious groups in the world. And I found it more fascinating that this gentle man came out as a pope by complete surprise. Nobody expected it. And he set about to bring a group of followers. I don't necessarily like calling them sheep, but the Bible refers to followers as sheep, and they refer to priests as being shepherds. And okay, that's one way of looking at it. Anyway, what struck me the most is even in his passing, he wasn't about too much pomp, too much ceremony. He spoke to people at their level, and he chose to be laid to rest in what many consider to be a really impoverished part of Rome, and not inside the walls of the Vatican. He still, in his afterlife, felt that the world needed to have some solace, needed to have some place to go and get this divine inspiration from wherever that was. That's what stirred something within me that said, wow, who are we not to follow some of this? Who are we not to go into this? Sorry, I'm waffling on a little bit, but I'm charged up today. The other card that comes from the Divine Masters is the Blue Beings. Now, this is not their first visit with us, but the point with which I'm using them is star beings, blue beings, extraterrestrial beings, beings of light, beings from Atlantis, whatever you want to call them, aliens, it doesn't matter. They've come to surround us with the beautiful holy light, whether you call it divine, the universe, the great creator, source energy. They're here, healing the wounds that we have, lifting our heart, and literally charging us up with this light consciousness energy. You can go study the recent videos of Pam Gregory, who is an incredible astrologer, but she says out loud she never set out on a path to be an astrologer and create these books, but she said she studied it because it fascinated her. And she speaks about aliens. She speaks about us becoming light, not so much light as in heaviness, but light as in the way we look at things, the way we have an enlightened way of looking at things, instead of this heavy division that's going on in the human race and the human experience, the dividing up of this against that, that against. We're in this big world, in this big planet, and I think we are being encouraged to shine that light out to the world. Pam Gregory every day at I think 7 o'clock or 7, I know it is 7 p.m. does a world meditation. It's not something you can find online. It's not on Zoom. It's not on any platform. It is simply set a clock for 7 p.m. and a timer for 15 minutes. Sit quietly and breathe and put your consciousness and your light on the healing of the world, on sending joy out to the world, on sending love out to the world. That, and there are millions of people doing this every day. Was once a week, now it's every day. That raises the vibration, the consciousness up to the entire world. Gertrude and Beatrice, who've been standing by. Now, when I talked about learning, they went back to their little area where they have the tea and the cups and the saucers, but there is no, well, there's tea over on the side. I can see the tea brewing, but they've got their books out and they're learning. And they're basically saying, just understand our world. Now, this deck is manifesting with angels and with fairies. So this deck is really all about what is the blessing that you need, that you are going to be blessed with, so it'll help you with your manifestation. A little bit lighter. This was a bit heavy, I think. Well, you're going to get the blessing of forgiveness. And here you have our fairy mother, I believe, of forgiveness, lifting the dove up. Here's what I have to say about forgiveness. When you've done something and your heart's heavy with it, I've said before many, many, many times, I learned a long time ago, the awareness, oops, I did this and I'm not happy I did this, and I'm going to ask myself to be forgiven for it. Now, it has to do with the intention. If it was unintentional, if you said something and then had to regress on what you said, if you did something and then had to pull back on what you did because something else happened, because usually that's what happens. You can ask, if a person comes and says, I'm upset because you blah 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 da 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 diddly doodly do, whatever that is that happened. My first go-to is, I'm sorry, and it was not intentional. This was my intention. If we live in that world of truth and honesty, we already are forgiveness. But this, I think, the blessing of forgiveness is really a blessing that allows us to feel worthy and deserving of what it is, the blessing of what it is to move forward. Move forward without a doubt. Move forward that God, the divine, earth energy, whatever you feel like you did up to this minute that wasn't quite right, here's your forgiveness blessing from the fairies. I got some exciting news. I'm sorry, I made this go all the way to the end. I'm doing this. Ding, 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 ding. On Saturday, May 10th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. It is a angel party with the wonderful John Mothershead, and it's all about authenticity. Let me get to that. There we are, angel party. Now, if you want the website to go to sign up, here it is, johnmothershead.com, and then you'll find events. I'm going to put the whole link in the description underneath this video. So that's coming up in little over 2 weeks. So I hope that you will join us. It's a fun. John does incredible intuitive paintings that sort of look a little bit like this, all done right there in front. And I will follow through, follow up, or start the process with reading and doing a channeling in a way on the question of authenticity. All right, my friends, until tomorrow or a little later today when I come up with a weekly blast, I love you. Thanks for listening to me waffle on. Bye for now.